Welcome again to Ancient Tales for today. We've been looking at some very old stories from more than, several thousand years ago. And today we're going to have lesson number 24, Switching the Bride, 交换这个新娘. Woo, that doesn't sound like a good idea, does it? No. Now, in the last lesson, we talked about Jacob, and he's running for his life, 逃命, and he has a dream. He saw a stairway up to heaven. Now, years later, he gets his bride switched. Stay by for another interesting story.
Switching the bride. Marriage customs are different around the world. Back in ancient times, we see some examples that may surprise us. The story of Jacob shows us how different things were. First of all, he was required to work for his bride's family for 7 years before the marriage could take place. Imagine having to work for so long before you could have a wedding. Then, when the marriage finally happened, on the wedding night, the bride's family switched the bride. When Jacob woke up in the morning, he found out he had slept with Leah, the older sister of Rachel. But it was Rachel that he thought he had married. This tells us that brides at the time wore veils. Otherwise, how could you not know who you had married? When Jacob complained about the bride being switched, he was told it wasn't the custom to allow the younger daughter to marry before an older one. I'm not sure that really was a custom even then. But Jacob still wanted to marry Rachel, so the family told him that he could marry her too if he worked another 7 years. This time he could marry before working the 7 years. Now Jacob had 2 wives. What do you think happened then? Of course, the 2 wives became rivals even though they were sisters. It must have been a noisy home with a lot of fights and arguments between the 2 wives, and Jacob probably didn't enjoy it very much. Trickery is the problem here. The family of the bride thought they could get a good deal. If Jacob was willing to work for 7 years, why not trick him and get him to work for another 7 years? But this clever idea only caused problems, especially for the sisters. While we may think we have gained by tricking people, in the end, we cause problems for ourselves and others.
Okay, lesson number 24, Switching the Bride, 交换新娘. Now that doesn't sound like a good idea. Some people say switching to 偷换. I usually think of it as 交换, but anyway, you end up 最后 you end up with the wrong wife, the wrong bride. So let's take a look at this story. Marriage customs are different around the world. 全球那些这个婚姻的传统都不同。Okay, customs 传统。Back in ancient times, 在古代的时候 ancient times, 古代的时候 we see some examples that may surprise us. 我们会看到一些例子 examples, 一些例子 some examples that may 或许会使我们很惊奇 surprise us. The story of Jacob shows how different things were. 雅各的故事 就给我们看一看那时候真的是不一样。And you know, that sometimes is very helpful when you read things from the ancient tales. The first thing you have to consider, 第一个要考虑的 the first thing that you have to consider is that times were different. 这个时代就不同。So keep that in mind. First of all, he was required to work for his bride's family for 7 years. Okay? The 新娘的家庭 had a requirement, 一个规定，一个条件。Sure, you can marry our sister, but you must work 7 years. He was required, 被要求, okay? It's more than just 要求. He was, somewhere in between 要求 and 命令, command, okay? To work for 7 years, which he was willing to do, of course. He was willing to do, okay? And he had to work 7 years before the marriage could take place. 还没有举办婚礼的时候 to have the marriage take place, had to work 7 years. Can you imagine that? You have to wait 7 years before you get married. Oh, that's different. Yes. Imagine, 想象, having to work so long. You're going to have to work 这么久, okay, before you can have the wedding. 才可以举办婚礼. In this case, to have a wedding means 举办婚礼. Okay, going on. Then, when the marriage finally happened, okay, so 7 years, after 7 years, it finally 终于举办婚礼的时候, and it happened on the wedding night, 新婚之夜. The wedding night, 新婚之夜. On the wedding night, the bride's family, 新娘的家里的人或家庭 switched the bride, 偷换了新娘. Switched the bride, how can we say that? 交换了这个新娘. Okay? Now, when Jacob woke up in the morning with his bride, they were in bed, he was in bed with his bride, and he woke up in the morning, what did he discover? He found out that he had slept with Leah, the older sister of Rachel. Now, two of the ladies' names. Older sister was Leah, and younger sister was Rachel. He was planning to marry Rachel, but in the morning he discovered that he had spent the night 同房 with the wrong lady, with Leah, the older sister. But it was Rachel he thought he had married. So in his mind, he thought他认为他是跟Rachel 结婚的. This tells us something very interesting. Obviously, it doesn't happen this way, not in our culture, that the brides at that time wore veils. 他们是戴上面纱. So you couldn't exactly see who you were marrying. Otherwise, 不然的话，他怎么可能啊 wake up the next morning and find out that you married the wrong person? Otherwise, how could you not know? 你怎么可能啊不知道呢 Okay, who you had married. Going on. When Jacob complained, 当然啊，他抱怨 complained. Jacob complained about the bride being switched. 他们交换了那个新娘啊。See, of course he complained. Anybody would complain. He was told, 他们就跟他说了 it wasn't the custom. 这个不是传统啊to allow the younger sister to marry before the older one. 传统并不是这个年轻的这个妹妹先结婚了，要先这个姐姐结婚了。Okay, let me read that whole sentence again. When Jacob complained about the bride being switched, he was told it wasn't the custom, 不是这个传统 to allow the younger daughter to marry before the older one. And then we added this sentence, 夸父 in parentheses. And it says, I'm not sure that really was the custom even then. I'm not sure. 并不是说这个是传统. Maybe they just said it. Anyway, now, what's going to happen? You'll have to stay by, and we'll look and see what is going to really happen. Now we come to some more light on our path. Today's Bible text is found in Proverbs 28:26.
箴言的28章26节。
Now, this is not very long, Lena, so let's read it very carefully. He who trusts in himself is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom is kept safe.
这里说，心中自恃的便是愚昧人，凭智慧行事的必蒙拯救。
Whoa, that's high-class Chinese. I'm not sure I understand.
意思是一样的，就是心里面觉得自己都是对的人，就是一个笨笨的人。
Right.
愚昧人。
If you trust yourself,
对。
then you're a fool. And then, of course, if you trust wisdom, in this case, wisdom is God, right?
与智慧同行的呢，他就会得拯救，就是被救了。很好的章节啊。
Okay. Now, from this story, Lena, did you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
我就看了这个故事之后，我觉得很有意思。雅各的生命很有意思。他骗人，他也会被他的舅舅骗，对不对？
对。
所以这种骗人的也会被人骗，好像也是像您前2课教我们说的那个 Golden Rule。
This is the backwards word. 刚好是相反的。
对。
你做坏事情，
对，
然后你也会被骗的。
对，也做坏事情也会得到一个坏的结果。
Yeah.
上一次我们说的那个 Golden Rule 是说你怎么样待人，人就会怎么样待你。你好好的待人，人家就会很温柔的待你，对吧？
Right. So in this case, we have a problem with Jacob. He is a bad guy. 他是骗别人。But his father-in-law, and you say Jojo, he was a relative. He deceived, gave him the wrong wife. Can you imagine?
对呀。
Got the wrong wife.
这个后果太可怕了啊！我觉得他开始骗他爸爸、骗他哥哥之后，他的后果是他要逃跑，
Yeah.
要 要离开自己的家
Yeah.
然后到了他这个亲戚啊，中文圣经说是他的舅舅家
Yeah.
然后这个很可惜的，这个结果付的代价太大了，因为要给他的不是他喜欢的一个人做他的太太。
Yeah. Well, that's amazing, isn't it? Okay, now we continue the story. But Jacob still wanted to marry Rachel. He got the wrong bride. Okay, 新娘是不对的. He still wanted to marry Rachel. So the family, so when you talk about family, some English words have many different translations. 家里的人 家庭 Okay, in this case, you can translate it 家族 Okay, so Rachel's family 那个家族 told him he could marry her too. Okay, you've married one, the older sister, now you can marry the younger sister too. But then they put another condition on it. If he worked another 7 years, 还要工作7年才能够获得the second wife. See, times are different. We're talking about things that, and even here we will notice that there were a lot of problems that started to occur. So let's check this out. Okay, another 7 years. This time, though, 这次呢比较好, he could marry before working 7 years. He didn't have to work the whole 7 years, then get married for the second daughter. 不一定是要再等7年. So he could get married immediately. I think they waited 1 week. So that it was a much better situation. But can you imagine? He ends up 这个最终啊 he ends up with 2 wives and forced labor 强迫他工作14年 for 14 years. Okay, now Jacob had 2 wives. What do you think happened then? 就发生什么事? Just think. 2 wives? Of course, 当然. The 2 wives became rivals, even though they were sisters. 尽管她们是姐妹. They became rivals. You know what rivals are? 对手. People that are fighting or against each other. These are rivals. It must have been a noisy home. Okay, 他们的家是相当肯定是吵闹 noisy 吵闹 noisy home with a lot of fights and arguments. Fights 争斗 or 打架也可以 and arguments 争吵 arguments 争斗争吵 between the 2 wives. That's the 2 wives are fighting. And Jacob probably 或许 he didn't enjoy that very much. 不是很享受他们的争吵跟争斗. In fact, if it were me, I wouldn't even stay around the house. I'd go live somewhere else, or at least not around where they were. Because who wants to listen to noisy arguments? Nobody likes that. Okay, trickery. What's trickery? 诡诈 诡诈 trickery is the problem here. 这是这边的一个问题。The family of the bride, okay, 新娘的家族, okay, the family, they thought they could get a good deal. 他是利用这个情况 They thought, 他们认为可以占得便宜 get a good deal. 他们就占得便宜 So, because obviously, Jacob, how can you say, 不得不接受 He had to accept it. If Jacob was willing to work 7 years, of course he was willing to work 7 years, why not trick him, 就骗他，或用诡诈 and get him to work for another 7 years. 7 plus 7, 14 years. And it's free labor. If you look at the ancient tales, you will discover something very interesting. Jacob, was a good worker. 他是好工人. He was very successful. And that's another story that's coming up. So we won't tell that story right now. But this clever idea, 聪明的计划，聪明的意思呢 only caused problems, 产生了问题 especially for the sisters, 特别是两个姐妹，她们两个姐妹真的她们之间呢有很多问题 While we may think we have gained by tricking people, in the end, we cause problems for ourselves and others. And of course, this is the last line. And usually in the last line, in English we say the bottom line, which is the conclusion. Okay? While we think we have gained by tricking people, while we may think we have gained, 我们得了益处 gained 这得了益处，所以用诡诈这个得益处 in the end 最终okay 最终we cause problems 我们就产生一些问题，肯定有一定的后果 There for sure is consequences or results, not only for ourselves, 不单是我们自己 but for other people. Other people have difficult times and it causes pain, 痛苦 for them. Well, we'll come back and wrap this all up in a few minutes.
艾老师，这里有一个问题，因为我看到这个题目哈，switching，我自己知道的 switch 是开关了，关灯开灯的时候用 switch， 但是这里为什么用 switching the bride？
Okay, switching means to 换。换。And so if you have on and off, 开有关，
对
so you're switching, right? So switching, you could say change the bride.
OK， 这里意思就是说调换了一个新娘子，对吧？
Yeah,
新娘，
Going on, what is a bride?
新娘，
哇，
好漂亮。
Yeah, and once upon a time, a few years ago, you were a bride. Right.
还有一个字 complain，
抱怨，埋怨。
嗯
So we don't want to be complaining people, do we?
对，我们不要常常抱怨。
Well, there you have it. Another story from the ancient tales. And indeed, they are for today. Well, we looked at switching the bride, 交换这个新娘. It's a little bit hard to understand. The customs and were different. I mean, look, we're looking at us thousands of years ago. These are several thousand years ago. Oh my, things were different. But already they became 对手. They were fighting with each other. Now we will actually see how they fought. So you'll want to come back and listen and watch as we tell you about the Great Sun War. See you then.
That's all for today, and thanks for watching. If you like Ancient Tales for Today, please visit atft.chinesehope.tv. You may also contact us by writing to ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Again, that's ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Tell your friends about Ancient Tales for Today. See you next time.